This podcast is sponsored by El Dorado Tonic Wine. I love this stuff. Do you know El Dorado in English means the gold? This shit is liquid gold. We love it here in Riley's Gaff. We drink it all the time. And you could be drinking it too. Just walk on down to any local convenience store in your area and I bet they'll be selling it. Amazon.com also sell it, so you can get it there and have a wee drink by the fire. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the podcast.
On the day-to-day the shit changed, but you know for the most part nothing ain't different. Sometimes we stuck in my ways, weekend fucked up in somebody's kitchen, sticking my hand out, I'm chilling with the troops and my few cans down, so I walk like Winston. Trust me, I wake up hanging. You think that I'm leaving this bed, you're kidding. I'm sitting on back in the pad, get deep fried and I smoke some packs of the grass. Put the feet up, kick back and relaxing your best. No, I'm sitting on Riley's gal.
Hi everybody.
Hi guys. We got a deep fry today. I'm doing it.
Jamie's doing it.
You're not doing it.
I don't know.
You don't need anything, mate.
I love this, mate. It's kicking back, learning about something.
You just need to sit and learn, which I mean, couldn't be better. That's the best scenario you can have.
It is.
I don't know why we were also against it in school. We were just sitting learning.
Could have learned it. Could have learned so much.
Didn't
I always think about that. I always think like when somebody was like, yeah, honestly, stick in at school and that, and I was like, fuck off, school shite. And then now I think about talking to wee guys and all that, and being like, yo, I know what you're going to say, but it matters. It actually fucking matters.
I know you're on second year and you think that's not going to matter a fuck, but it really does.
It matters because if you don't, you'll end up sitting with your pal talking about wanking and all that every week.
Week in, week out.
In a room with a fucking fish lava lamp behind you.
See, that sounds very similar to our podcast, but it isn't exactly, mate, because we also do interesting stories.
Yep.
On Deep Fried especially, I mean, our usual day-to-day podcast, we don't ever really tell tales as such, but this time I'm telling a tale, mate, and the tale is the kidnapping of Freddy Heineken, the owner of Heineken, the Heineken Brewing Company,
Heineken Lager,
as it's known, mate.
Do you like a Heineken?
Mate, I do. I enjoy a Heineken.
Pint of Heineken?
Pint only, mate.
Bottle of Heineken?
I don't catch the last time I had a bottle of Heineken, if I'm being honest with you, mate, but I think I don't mind a can in that, no. I just don't mind. I think that's an alright lager, mate.
It's like mid, and it's like in the middle. It's like wouldn't be first choice, but wouldn't be well, it's like last choice lager.
Carlin and that, innit?
Mind when I was going down for 4 cans.
Aye.
I went into a shop near me and
it was the worst lineup.
it was, here's a lineup of lager troops. I actually had to walk out, and I wasn't even that bothered about what I was getting, but I had to walk out. Here's the can selection: Budweiser, Coors, Carlin, Stella.
Stella.
I don't like Stella. I don't like Stella. I think people kid on to like Stella.
Actually, no, I don't mind Stella. Do you know what I prefer, mate? Coors.
You like a Coors?
I'd actually heavy enjoy a Coors.
I just group Coors in with all the trampy beers and just don't drink it. I don't know if I've ever had one.
Like Miller and that.
That was like the first beer I ever drank.
Oh, is it?
Aye, fuck.
Mate, mine just Budweiser. It's always going to be one of the two, innit?
Bud or Miller. I like Millers because I seen my dad drink them.
Aye. That was quite similar with my dad as well. He would drink. Mate, no,
guy.
he used to batter, mate, that you don't see about, and it never gets said in conversations and that. Beck's
lager.
Mate, my dad loved a Beck's, mate. That was all he used to drink when I was a wee guy, mate. So that might have been one of my first drinks, actually.
Aye,
Franny
Beck's.
feeding me it when I was like 8.
In the bottle.
Yeah. See your hands to you.
Fucking hell, put him his kit.
Aye, defo. That was defo what it was about.
Aye.
And one man that did get a lot of kip for, I'm just going to reveal this now, 3 weeks this man was kidnapped for. Freddy Heineken. On Wednesday, November 9th in 1983, just before 7 o'clock in the evening, Freddy Heineken walked out of his Amsterdam office. His chauffeur, Ab Doderer, was waiting outside. 2 women stepped ahead of him and Heineken was last out. He locked the door of the office and looked for his armoured Cadillac. It's quite
Why did he have an armoured Cadillac? For situations like what's about to happen?
Probably quite similar to this. I feel like if the armoured Cadillac, so when he went outside, it wasn't there. It was parked up the road just slightly, which I think's a fatal move. Like if you're picking up a CEO in a vehicle that's armoured, you'd think you'd be as close to the building as possible. But he parked in the shop, so obviously he was jumping in for a bottle or that.
You can't text him, but mate, I'm just at a fucking tap of the road, mate.
Because you just dived into Royston Road there, grab you there. But as Freddy walked onto the pavement, a hand grabbed him by the back of his suit jacket. One of the women that was walking in front of him screamed and tried to pull the attacker away. Two men rushed in, and one sprayed her and sprayed tear gas into her face, and the other brandished a handgun. Heineken dropped to the ground as they tried to drag him. He shouted for his driver, who was already running towards him, but a fourth man intercepted Dodra, and they grappled. Within seconds, both men were forced into the back of a bright orange van, hands and feet shackled, helmets taped over their heads, and they were swallowed by darkness. 90 minutes later, a package arrived at a police station in The Hague. Inside it was a letter demanding millions for their safe return, with proof of life included. This was one of the most meticulously planned kidnappings in European history, and it had just begun.
It is nuts to think, like... Because I never thought about CEOs of beer company. Is he the CEO? Like the old...
So
like, what
I think he owned it.
Right, so you never think about how much money people who own big beer companies must have. Like I never think you would target somebody like that for a kidnap. I would always think it would be like, I don't know, like a government official's daughter or something. That's what I would do.
Well, mate, that was one of the first targets. Was they were talking about maybe doing a high-ranking politician, but they didn't want the kidnapping to become a spectacle and like a political statement or anything.
Right.
They were in this for purely cash, mate.
Aye.
These guys weren't. I'll get onto it, but they weren't mugs, mate. They were high. Like we were talking about Diddy the other day, and we were talking about how he was like top dog in New York at a point, and no one had turned into a mad psycho. These guys were kind of like that in the dam back in the 80s and that. They were criminals. They were like kind of no petty criminals, but they never had tried anything as audacious as this yet. But they did rob, steal. The two main guys. So the main guy was called Cor Van Hout, and his best mate at the time was called Willem Hollader, and they were pals in school. And in school, they used to extort cunts. They started an extortion racket in school. So Willem Hollader, he was like the muscle mate. He was like of the gang. He was the big man. He would like smash cunts and that. But then I was thinking like extortion at the age of like say 13 isn't really extortion. It's just robbing a cunt, innit? Because you can't offer anything.
No, but would they maybe just be like, now the way the mafia would do it, they're like, they would get somebody to go in and smash a shop up, and then they would come in and be like, get to fucking lair the guy, and be like, here, the guy would leave and they'd be like that to the owner, here, you don't want that to happen again, do you?
We can solve this.
Maybe they done that. Maybe like the big man, what's his name, Willem?
Willem.
Maybe he would smash them, and then the other guy would come in and be like, look, I'm the only guy that can control him.
I can tame this guy.
But I need a bit.
I'm going to need 4 guilders, mate.
I'm going to need 4 bars of chocolate.
Come on, tuck shots just opened.
See what you said about this being like the most meticulously planned thing ever. Do you know there's a bit of a hole in the whole plan that there's a bright orange van?
Mate.
It's all Holland, mate.
So what they've done and what the clever men have done, right? So they've had... Well, I will get onto this, but
right. If you're
they
going
had...
to come on it, we can
No, I'll just tell you the news. So, because I've not went into pure detail on this kind of part, but they had 3 van switches and then a car switch. They had rented the cars on different names that were all fake IDs that were from Germany and Belgium. They had one of the cars that they had... So where they had led the police for when they're not for the actual kidnapping but for the handoff, they had led the police on a mad wild goose chase all about Amsterdam that equaled like they had drove 1,000 kilometres over the Netherlands, and if you know the Netherlands, that's 600 miles and it's not that big, so they'd led them round in circles and stuff. And that like they had made it so that it looked like they'd left a car at the border between the Netherlands and Belgium and Germany, and so they were just, and they left. I'll get on it.
He's mugged you right.
That's what I get for
mate.
trying to G-check.
Mate, listen, Cor van Hout, mate, he was the planner, he was the man. So 2 years earlier for the kidnapping, New Year's Day 1981. What a time of your life, mate. And the dam and that, they must have been full of gear, man. Because they were all drug dealers and that.
Aye.
And they used to meet up every New Year, this group of friends. Some of them had been friends for a while, some of them were kind of family members, or they'd just been brought on for this job. But the planning started 2 years before. Con Van Hout sat in an apartment above a flower shop called Paradise, surrounded by his friends and bottles of champagne. He was 26. He was a horse gambler, a property operator, and above all, a planner. He'd grown frustrated with how small-time crime was going. The banks were difficult, taxes were oppressive, and no matter how hard they work, they were scraping by for their lifestyle. So they had yachts and that, but he was like, all this stuff's going to leave us. Our cars will be out the garages, our boats will be out the water, and our money will be out the bank. That was a direct quote, mate. He's like,
Sounds like Churchill quote or something.
exactly, mate. And he said, I will not have it. I'd rather die than watch everything disappear. He said, it's time for one decision, all or nothing. One plan that solves everything permanently. And I mean permanently. So that's been attributed as a direct quote for that. There's a film about this, and that's the kind of people, like, as it's happened before with something that we've done. I forget what Deep Fried it was, but it was one of the alien abductions we done. And when a film comes out about an event, a lot of things get skewed for like what was creative license, what was artistic license, and what was actually happened. But that wasn't revealed as part, like, something that he said until the film had came out, and then he was like, I definitely said that.
So he maybe did they say that?
Our boats will be out the water, mate. Our boats will be out the water, and he cannot have that. So with Cor van Hout were Willem Hollander, who was a loud, violent and intimidating man known as the Nose.
Chocolate bar stealer.
The chocolate bar extraordinaire, he was called it all, back in the day. Franz Meyer, who was analytical and precise, and he was nicknamed the Professor. Jan Bollard, who was quiet but very skilled with tools. He was the oldest of the bunch. He was 30, so they're not, these are
fucking ancient,
mate. But these are young men, mate. Like, I was thinking about that. Learning about Cor van Hout's life, mate, at like 26 and having all this shit and just being like, I want more, mate.
Because see, when you told me, like, then they done this in the van switch, you know, I'm like, these are mad. I pictured Willem to be a baldy guy, maybe the early 50s, 40s, wearing all black, big black leather jacket, like down to his knee. Like,
I think they were more cool guys, mate. I think they were just cool guys about town.
that is pretty cool to kidnap a CEO.
It's cool to be sitting with your pals and just be like, right, troops. Troops, I've got something.
It is mad to have like yachts and all that at 26 and be like, fuck, man, we need to get up to something.
Like, I'm no, like, it's so funny having that lifestyle and just being like, I want this to be the bottom, mate. Like, that's no, like, see if one day I had like 2 motors, a boat, and fucking 3 flats in Amsterdam, I'd be like, right, I've actually made it.
I can chill.
This guy was like 25, 26, and he's like, this is enough, mate, I'm not having it. I need more. And he got more, mate. He got more. The amount he got, I don't know where I've put out on this, but the amount they got was 35 Dutch guilders, which in today's money would be 80 million euros. So adjusted for inflation, 35 million Dutch guilders are about 80 million euros, I think like 78 or something. And I will get onto this again, but another kind of bit of meticulous planning that they had is the reason they'd picked that amount wasn't like greed to it, and it wasn't like them being like, right, what will they pay or whatever. They had said, right, we need to plan it so that the handoff of this money can be, we can move it, 5 guys can move that. So they got Dutch mailbags, which are like big white kind of they're no like our kind of milk, like the shoulder things. They're kind of like Hessian sacks, now that kind of mail sack type thing, like straw kind of. But they're big fuckers.
Oh, you're talking about, aye.
So they went and they got 5 of them and cut paper up to the exact denominations that they were going to. So they had said, right, we're going to ask for 5, 20s, 10s, 50s, 100s, so it's harder to trace. The money had to be ran through and issued a bank twice or something like that, so it had to be like, they'd made it so that the money was kind of untraceable, and then they had cut up bits of paper and all stacked it into these bags to see how much they could weigh. So one full bag of that was 100 kilograms. So that's just like, that would be like fucking humping me about.
Mate, I would never think that deep. I'd be like, 100 mil? Like, I would just, he's calling you the orange van, no, I mean,
Yeah.
I would.
Wait, let me pick a hole in this.
Aye.
This plan. But aye, you would just think, what's the most dough we can get?
Aye.
But
And
they-
like, what would they, what's reasonable?
What's reasonable?
What's a reasonable amount for like, Freddy Heineken?
Aye, because you would hate to like capture Freddy, right?
Well, don't want to take the piss.
You've got Freddy, you've got him in a fucking warehouse somewhere, and you're like, right, do you think they'll pay 20 million? Do you think they'll pay, like, if you said a number that they were just like, aye, no bother, like, we want 5 million quid. But I wouldn't know if that was low or high. So they've just went for how much money can we physically transport.
Aye.
5 guys can carry 5 sacks that are 100 kilo, just about. That would be like swinging me about, mate. Like me, I'm a limp body and you need to drag me about a forest or
You
that.
don't think about the actual weight of like that much money.
Aye, because you think like money's light, mate, it's paper.
Aye.
But hundreds of it,
All sorts.
correct me, millions of it.
Millions.
Yeah, it's going to be quite heavy. So the rest of the gang, the cat was, that was Jean Bollard. He was the cat.
He was the tool guy.
Aye, he's a tool guy. So Van Hout's younger half brother, Martin Airkamps, was called Breaks. He was a talented car thief. Before they ever settled on Freddy Heineken, the group worked through a short list of other potential targets. The CEO of Phillips was considered. So Phillips is like,
The screwdriver.
One blades in that.
aye,
Aye.
Phillips is razors, and also did they got electric?
Aye, it's like electricals, aye.
Aye, so he was considered, and so was the head of DAF or Daft Trucks.
Daft trucks, man.
Daft Trucks, obviously. Yeah. And even the chief of a large Dutch supermarket chain. One by one, they were ruled out. Phillips was too vast and insulated, had layers of management and security that would slow or complicate any ransom decision. DAF's leadership sat inside a company already under financial strain. Like a Dutch car company's not going to be like fucking mega though, is it?
Why do we get Arnold Clark?
Mate, Arnold Clark, by the way.
He'd be.
What's 90 bill or something he's off
I might take Arnold Clark, right? Is he still alive?
It's his
I think
boys.
he is alive.
I think he is, but he doesn't. It's his boys, mate. I think he's got 3 boys that run it.
Aye, but his boys will still love him, mate.
But I'm saying get one of them.
Get one of the boys.
Or
Who's going to do the payment bit?
well, that was
I
another.
doubt old Arnold can do a bit of internet bang, mate.
Aye, true. By the way, but then that was another reason why they didn't go for the supermarket CEO, because they thought that it would be a bit like just a bit dodgy, like fucking haggling with cunts that sell fucking tins of fucking peaches and that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, but then also the supermarket executive was like 90, and they were like, we don't want him to die. Like, everyone was
stay alive.
need him alive, mate. Everyone was thought about. Do you know what I mean? Well, everyone was thought about, because I'll spoil this.
It's so funny think about him dying, just getting chucked in the van, innit? Just
Aye.
be like, oh,
For fuck's sake, they would need to like they would need to like
Weekend at
weekend at
Bernie's.
Bernie's, mate. That's what they would need to do.
prop him up, that.
Because they would need to be like, he's alive. What?
Should they give you the money? Aye.
Bring money. Like you just these strings and that. Man, puppet.
That's a better film. I like that film.
That would be a good film. So, Freddy Heineken was different. He was one man. He was Heineken at the time, mate. Like, I think he died actually. Sorry, R.I.P. Freddy. Can we say a wee prayer for Freddy Heineken?
Freddie, R.I.P. You would have loved Madry.
So he died in 2003, but at the time, top dog, and it was like, no, how he was one of the old school. That was one of the old school companies. It's like he was head honcho. There was no like, had to go through this and this and
Everything
that.
went through Freddy.
So
It's
Freddy,
the 80s, mate. not
Freddy
like-
was the man, mate, and if he's kidnapped, they're all like, mate, that we might have never tried a delicious Heineken if he did end up.
It's true.
If they did end up killing him, know what I mean, by accident, because these guys when they wanted to be murderers, mate. That was one of their big things. They wanted to be rich. That's their only thing was like, we need to get as rich as possible, as quickly as possible, which I fuck with. Like, I think, see, my susceptible brain, at 26, I know it was only a couple of years ago now, but at 26, if you used to, here, I've got a mad plan, but it's going to make us rich beyond our wildest dreams. We just need to kidnap a guy, take him to Stud, leave him there for 3 weeks, and get the ransom. I'd be like defo, mate, for like my share at 80 million.
I think I could talk you into a kidnapping in about 10 minutes.
Easy, mate.
Because you'd be like, mate, no, I don't. I'd be like, mate, think about it.
Aye. No, you're
But
right.
see how that could work.
Another than right.
See, you did have to commit a crime like that, but for hundreds of money. See, something like kidnapping, that would be the lowest on my list, because you need to interact with the police. You need to like get the money off them.
Right.
And I would just think you're getting snared there and then. You know what I mean? Big nets coming.
There's three stages to a kidnapping, mate. The kidnapping, the negotiations, and the handoff. The handoff of the money, mate, that is the most, you're absolutely right, that's the most dodgy bit, mate. And that's what would put me off a good kidnap.
100%. You
No,
could
I
do
mean-
everything else flawlessly, and then somebody just grabs you. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh fuck.
Do you know what I've not included in this? So I'll tell you what they ended up going for with the kidnapping, right? But no, I've not included the other things that were touted for the handoff, like the other suggestions. Because as I say, they've had 2 years to plan this, mate. They've like went through, and they're all pals, mate. So they'd just be sitting, going, right, so what if we do this? Like now the way we do with the pod.
Aye, like, who should we get on next? Aye, like that.
Is they're like, right, so see when you hand out the money, we could install tubes with vacuum, like see the way the mail
On a
gets,
bank, like-
aye, see the
Like
like,
they chip
aye,
and
they
it
go
flies through, aye.
and it's like we'll
Like
just
an
get,
elf.
aye, we'll just say to the police, go to this location.
In the mailroom, an elf, mate.
Aye,
you know what I'm
true, aye. But that would have been, I thought that would have been a good option. They said they could install, because these guys were in construction and that, a lot of them, like Van Hout, like obviously if you're a kind of petty criminal, you probably got a wee fucking landscape business or something, but they all had, like the warehouse that they took Heineken to, that was owned by the three of them for different, like just having a warehouse, which I've always loved the idea of. Just having a warehouse for like it's no way you go to work every day. So by the way, I've got that place if we need to go and
If we need it,
if you need something,
kidnap all that.
we'll do it.
I know who we would take, mate.
Who?
Just sorry, I
No,
keep
I like
I'm
it.
interrupting, but George,
Bowie.
the guy that makes the clothes at Asda,
That's a good one.
Good one.
Underrated pick.
take him out.
Aye.
Asda, done, mate.
Mate, we could set
What
up.
about Mr. or Mrs. Asda themselves?
Hey, that's a good shirt.
Is that?
Dude, this guy talking about this ain't you know.
What about the F&F bastards? That's two, but
Is that M&S?
F&F is
Tesco.
Tesco clays, mate. What else is there? Nutmeg, is that one? That's Sainsbury's clays, isn't it?
No, that's Morrison's.
Sure.
No, you're thinking at
maybe
what's the furniture that Argo? No, that's not Habitat. I was like,
Habitat's in Sainsbury's, you're right. Aye, that is it. But I could get F, you could get F, and you could get George.
I'll take George that cut.
That cunt will be old, by the way.
Oh, I fuck him.
Packing, though.
Him and Arnold Clark about here. A fucking old bastard.
Orange pickup, a bright orange van, nae handover, like nae swapping bands like that, just drive the orange van for Arnold Clark's house.
Mate, I might make Arnold take one of his own higher brands, mate.
Wear no George Clays.
Right, tell us, man. Tell us.
Right.
Sorry, man.
By the time the Heineken plan took shape, Van Hout was already a fixture in Amsterdam's criminal ecosystem, specialising in organisation rather than brute force. His early crimes were burglaries. Oh, fucking hate that word's the bane of Scottish men's existence, innit? Robberies, ring thefts, insurance fraud. What am I saying, mate?
Burglary's got you fucked up, mate.
And smuggling, mate. Smuggling drugs, which is good. Because if you're staying in the dam, that's a gold mine you're sitting on, innit? Like all the free drugs that are just kicking about. Like surely the Amsterdam Postal Service isn't going to pick up every kilo of coke that's going out of there, do you know what I mean? So I'm surprised more people don't do it. They earned him a reputation. Everything he done was methodical, calm, unemotional, and obsessed with timing. It was all about like this goes there, like the vans and like the handover as you'll hear about. His best friend was Willem Hollander, and it was the perfect complement for a crime point of view. He applied the oppression and intimidation and the force, while Van Hout applied the structure. Together they were formidable, at least until ambition and fear tore them apart. It's a wee bit of foreshadowing for that pair. They watched Freddy Heineken for weeks. Same route, same driver, minimal protection. They chose a moment when traffic slowed naturally. Witnesses were distracted and escape routes were already primed. Guns were brandished but not fired. From first contact to van departure took under a minute. After their abduction, misdirection came first. Vehicles were switched. Planted evidence suggested foreign involvement, German criminals, and a larger, heavily armed group. The police were chasing the wrong story. So what they done was, see during that wee scuffle, they dropped a bag of Uzis and a gun and another gun, and when they see the package that they dropped off at The Hague, they wrote that on German paper, used a Dutch envelope, used a Belgian pen and all that. Like, no,
A Belgian pen.
I mate, everything that could be like.
It's fucking ex-Belgian, man.
Mate, but that's what they would do. They would
Paste ink.
They would analyse. I fucking fuck knows how, mate. But they were doing mad shit to like what when I was listening to stuff about this. I was just thinking the police must have been like, these cunts are doing my nothing, mate. Because they would just leave like a pair of glasses smashed at one of the car handovers, or in the car they left like a bag of messages and all that. So like forensics have to look at all that
and
just
it's all leading them in different paths.
Just waste
Slowing them down like fuck if they analyse them.
Slowing them down like fucking wasting their time, mate. They were all about, they wanted to be in control of what the police were searching for and in control of what the police were believing and stuff. Like, they wanted to be in control of everything, and it was all Cor Van Hout's planning that done that, or made them able to achieve that up to a certain point.
I think we need to get him involved in the podcast, this Cord guy.
He's sadly dead, mate.
Oh, fuck.
He's sadly dead. I'll tell you a wee bit about that later on. Heineken and Dodra were taken to separate purpose-built cells inside a workshop owned by Van Hout. There was concrete walls and heavy insulation, no windows and constant music, designed not for cruelty but for disorientation. With no sense of time, captives couldn't anticipate what would happen next. Heineken later said the silence between music loops was worse than the music itself, mate. I don't know what, it was a mad Dutch album, but they just played the same album, mate, 3 weeks. Just air and air again, blasted it in these cells. So what it was like a big long warehouse, like just one of the big tin kind of bunkery looking things, right?
Aye.
But then up the back they had, it was just the back wall with a door to go at the back, but they built 3 meters this way, they built another wall and had it hidden, like you couldn't get into it. There was a secret way to get into it, but like
you'd never figure it
you
out.
walk into that warehouse, you go, it's fucking empty. And they built these concrete cell blocks that were breeze blocks that were 6 by 10 inches, like bigger than usual. And they also had like sound insulation kind of stuff in them. Built them, and it was like 3 by 3 meter cells, and in between 2 leaves of concrete block that were about half a metre apart was like half a metre of sawdust that was just sound insulation, so they couldn't hear a thing, and they were both in separate cells, so they didn't know if the other one was dead or stuff like that. So it was fucking them up a bit.
And then they played an album.
Aye, they blasted it.
Why is that? Just for even more, like, so they can't hear it?
Aye, so they can't hear it.
Because that's like a torture sort of thing,
I
isn't it?
thought that, but they did say that it was explicitly just for the sound. But then I think it probably was to kind of drive them a bit nuts.
Nathan Evans
blasting constantly, a bit of Capaldi and that. Who would you, like 3 weeks, you need to listen to one album. Don't even need to say the album, just the artist. What's tolerable for that amount of time?
Illmatic.
That would be, you'd come out like a fucking, you'd come out ready to go, mate.
Well, I mean, is there any album that you'd be like, aye, 3 weeks of that? There's no.
What about like Mozart and that? Like, is there a symphony or something? That'd be nuts with it.
I think you'd hear that for the rest of your life.
True, by the way.
You want to go for a really long album, so at least You're getting a lot.
Like an album that's on for 3 weeks.
Aye, something.
yeah, 3 week one.
Fuck.
SG.
Just get to the end of that. Oh, is that you? Aye.
Fuck Jake.
Fuck's sake, what's the seventh tune on that album? God, I belter, man.
Aye, you would know every lyric at every tune, wouldn't you? So the kidnappers never spoke directly to the police. Everything went through recorded messages with voice changers. No, it wasn't even voice changers. It was like somehow, and I don't know how this happened with the technology back in the day, but they got like text to speech in '83. That's what it said in the film anyway. I don't know if that's maybe wrong, but then it was like a robotic voice.
I bet it probably could have just been like that, like a Stephen Hawking type thing.
Oh, a voice changer that's made them like Stephen Hawking. Or well, Stephen Hawking's had that for donks, hasn't he?
Has he been rocking that since the 80s?
It could have been,
Yeah,
mate.
these wee fucking...
Maybe it was him demanding that shit for the police.
We need to kidnap Stephen Hawking or not to talk for us, man.
No, even him, just his chair. Fuck him off it. Growing his chair. So the voice changers, it was written instruction. Like they wanted to open a one-way channel of communication with the police. They didn't want them to be able to negotiate back. So they used to send coded messages to a phone box outside the police station. Aye, it was a phone box outside the police station. And they named themselves, the kidnappers named themselves the Ego, and they named the police the Hare. So they would give them instructions and it would be like, this is a message for the Hare. Meet us at Hilton Station near Schiphol Airport at 7 p.m. and you will find another message. Is this understood? And they just had to go, yes. And that was it. And they would go away. The other way that the way that they originally knew that the police would accept the ransom is they would have them put coded messages into the newspaper for that day, which I think's a bit, I don't know, that's a bit crackers, isn't it? Like the police being like, we need to get the words, the green is finished with. It was weird.
So the kidnappers were making the police put messages in the paper?
Aye.
Why?
So that's like there's no communication with them at all.
Was that like their way to answer back?
Aye, that was for them to
okay.
confirm that they were accepting the ransom, or that they had accepted the package. That was the original package. That's what they done, and I think they done it one other time. The messages always opened calmly. They were always, this is a message for the Hare, and followed by the repeated phrase, this message has absolute priority. This message has absolute priority. This message has absolute priority. They would say that before things because they were giving out instruction, and they were like, what we are saying now takes out everything else you're doing. So you better fucking do it. The instructions weren't requests, they were commands. The police were forced into a reactive role, responding precisely to the steps and consequences outlined by the kidnappers. As I said before, the ransom was 35 million Dutch guilders, the largest in Europe at the time. But the figure wasn't about greed, it was about physics. I kind of already told you this.
It's kind of greedy, I don't want it.
It's kind of greedy, but they were
if
like...
you've already got yachts and that, you're like, look, that's all 80 million kidnapping isn't about greed, right?
yeah. But I mean
how they got to that figure?
How they got to that figure,
yeah.
aye. So the gang tested standard Dutch mail bags, filling them with small denomination notes and papers, weighing them, emptying them and repacking them until they found the limit. 5 bags, which weighed around 100 kilograms each, could be moved cleanly. The number wasn't rounded. It was dictated by what they could carry under the conditions of their escape. Everything had been optimised for efficiency. They were, man, you know how me I love a bit of efficiency. Yeah. That is an unmatched, like when you're talking kidnappings, you can't really get much better than being efficient. Do you know what I mean?
Number one, innit?
It might be, apart from like, because you don't even need to be, they didn't need to be scary guys. Like, they didn't need to be a scary gang in that. They made the police think they were. Made the police think they were some like scary German gang.
Aye, like a big organised gang of like proper criminals. Like, aye.
See, speaking about that, I was going to say, you might not know the answer to this, but in any of these messages, was the threat? Was it like, or we'll kill him?
Aye. So there was a point where they had set out the first stop in this kind of wild goose chase that they were sending the police, and they were told to leave the police station in a Renault van that they parked there, which is sick as well. They've parked a white van outside and they're like, drive that with the money in it to this place, and they told them to mark it with a big X on the side, and they were in a hotel with binoculars looking to where they showed them, and they never done it that day. So what they ended up doing is cutting off all conversation, mate, for like 6 days. They were just like, right, if you want to like fuck us a bit, we'll just cut off all communication for 6 days. Nobody heard for them, and obviously they've no got a channel to get back to them at all, mate. So it's like whenever they speak, the police need to come back. So they were like, we'll just no speak, which ended up kind of being their downfall, because in that 6 days, I'm just going to tell you. So a tip, the police received a tip just before they instructed the police to do that with the Renault van. They received a tip about a warehouse near Schiphol Airport, which is where this warehouse is, and they said it's really the person who called it in, right? Know what the tip was? That a person had called, so he was a delivery driver for a local Chinese, and a person had got 2 meals delivered to that warehouse every day, but left like, so somebody had got this Chinese delivery done, thanks, walked in, obviously gave it to the cunt,
left
and then
immediately.
fucked off, and he was like, why is he getting 2 meals and then leaving? But he done it every night. So after like so many nights, they told the police about it, which I thought was mad for like a Chinese delivery driver, like being that observant of your environment and that. I
Also,
would
no bad to be in jail and getting Chinese every night.
Aye, well,
Mate,
and
mate,
mate, that's what I mean. I don't think they were like bad guys.
bashing
Mate.
tunes,
Aye,
Hey, one of them
Salt chili chatting, salt chili chips.
salt chili gruel, salt chili rice pudding. But aye, so that was a kind of big, and
That seems quite dumb of them.
it does.
Like to get in a, because like surely if you kidnap Freddy Heineken and you've went to all this meticulous effort to be like, and then we'll send him here, and then like every night being like, better bail that Chinese man. Just getting this mad random guy to be like, yeah, what? And it's like a warehouse, it's all boarded up at the back and all that. He's like, there you go, mate.
True, by the way.
It seems like a bit of
that's a bigger loophole than the old orange van thing that we were on earlier. Like that's something I don't have an answer for, if I'm being honest with you, mate.
Because I think at the point you're building jail cells, you'd be like, maybe we should buy some bags of chips or something. They're going to be here for
an air fryer.
Should I install a kitchen?
A microwave. Like, literally a kettle. I think that was, so whatever Van Hout, wasn't he? Cor Van Hout was the man. He was the guy that, as I say, had meticulously planned everything. So I think when his like wee stepbrother and that was involved, he was probably like, just get my Chinese.
They fucked it.
Get him egg fried rice or something. But aye, the handoff was almost compromised when the police deliberately missed an early meeting to buy time. The kidnappers, they didn't panic. They slowed their operations down and reinserted control and forced the authorities back in line. Then they cut off all contact with the police for 6 days, which scared them. And on their next communication, the ransom was eventually transferred through an elaborate overnight scavenger hunt. The street lamps were tampered with, and there was 5 different locations where they would find different clues for their next location. They had them go to a hotel that was near Schiphol Airport, actually quite near the warehouse, and underneath a lamppost there was instructions for their next drop, which was another 100 kilometres away in Eindhoven. So they had them driving Eindhoven back to the dam, around the full of the Amsterdam in a circle, and eventually it was to lead to this overpass motorway that had a storm drain in it, which is like literally just in between the two, like say imagine the Kingston Bridge, right? Where it kind of splits off, there'll be like a wee bit that's like guardrails and then just a hole underneath, and it's just the road will slightly go down the way.
So
You just
it
let
doesn't flood?
water go down. That's what it is. So they had the police take the 5 bags and the 5 bags of money to that location and drop the bags down the storm drain where there was a pickup truck waiting that drove away. They drove into the forest where they'd already dug holes and planted in like big plastic containers that had anti like they would scan the bags for like GPS and all that kind of stuff. So they had these kind of detectors already in these barrels, uncovered them, took them out, scanned everything. There was no GPS, there was no trackers, there was no money, like they be things that explode and shit, dye packs and that. There was no electrics in it, it was literally paper. Fucked them in there and went their separate ways. In the aftermath, the Dutch police traced logistics through rented garages.
So they've got the money at this point,
So the money's where they've stashed it.
and they go. So they made the police stash this door.
No, so the police
Oh, they
dropped
dropped
the
the
door
money off.
and they drove up and they've stashed it. And while they were doing this, the Dutch police traced. So the Dutch police didn't want the family to pay the ransom. That was kind of
Who paid it then?
the family. Heineken.
So they did pay it. Aye.
Heineken, aye. So Heineken have paid it, but the police were like, I don't think we should do this. But
Because it's like negotiating with terrorists.
I don't think Dutch police are that arsed about that. I think it was just that they thought they had that tip and they had been tracing logistics through rented garages, workshops and storage units and looking for unusual construction activity in the area that they were looking in. So they were doing quite well at kind of finding these guys. Who knows if they would have without the old Chinese tip, but that they had that in the locker and they were investigating the right thing. So they weren't investigating any German gangs. They weren't anything that they'd found on this wild goose chase. They weren't like testing anything forensically or anything. All they were doing was going through, like, if I was to kidnap a cunt, where would I take him? Like, what would I do? And actually just thinking about that and looking, and they were also observing already known criminals, which they were. So they 4 guys were.
They would have been known to them.
They were known to them. And after the handoff, they started noticing like the police were tracking them there. Like, so I'll read this bit first, right? So, so they were observing known criminals. They also got a tip from a Chinese takeaway delivery man. It was a seemingly minor clue that helped link the gang to the crime. When they started to notice that the police were tailing them a wee bit more, they decided to all split up and go separate ways.
So where did they go for getting the money?
So two Jan Bollard and Martin Airkamps went to release Freddy Heineken and Dodder. But the other 2, the pals, Willem and Van Hout, went to Paris. They fled to Paris, where they weren't caught. They 2 for a few years anyway. I'll go into they've got a wee bit of history afterwards, right? But the police had noted that they 2 had went to Paris. And because they were going through investigating that warehouse and they'd seen people, the people that were entering in and out for CCTV and stuff, they knew who it was. So Jan Bollard and Martin Airkamps were arrested quickly on their way to free Freddy. Van Hout and Hollander fled to Paris, moving between different places to try and avoid extradition, because they knew by this time that they were going to be extradited if they kind of go to the jail. But they did end up in a French jail for 2 years.
See, at this point, sorry to interrupt you, but see when they went there, had they taken the money out, or is the money still sitting there?
Aye, so I'll tell you about this. So when they fled to Paris, I've got it written down, but when they fled to Paris, they all went and they took 8 million guilders between them, which is like, what's that, like 10-15% of what the overall cost is. So they'd split that up between them and attempted to kind of flee to go anywhere else, right? But Franz Meyer, the young boy, breaks. he was a bit of a fucking nut job, so he was, and he went to a beach in France, a beach in the Netherlands, and burned all his share of the money, and then turned himself in, and he got put in a Dutch psychiatric facility.
For burning the money?
For that,
Yeah,
mate, fucking 2.5 million.
3 weeks of that, and you just burnt it all.
Aye.
Like that?
Aye, exactly. That was his plan. I
To
think,
get put in a
to
psychiatric
get put
ward?
in. And I don't think Franz Meyer's as stupid as the film and these books and shit make him out. I think he's pocketed that money somehow or invested it, burnt a big pile of paper and just been like, I burnt it all. I'm fucking crackers, get me in a Dutch facility.
So
Where?
you don't need to go to jail.
Where he eventually escaped and fled to Paraguay, where he built a successful life. He married, he had children, and he ran a very successful restaurant. And he remained under the radar for nearly a decade until crime reporter Peter R. De Vries tracked him down in 1994. Absolute snitch bastard. He was arrested there and eventually extradited to the Netherlands in 2002.
Oh man, that's
He's
a gutter.
home and dry, mate. Probably, like,
In
as I say,
Paraguay? It's not even, because I thought you were going to say Paris. And I was like, he's getting caught. Paraguay?
mate, apparently Heavy loved surfing and that. It was
Aye.
like he was living a life there. Like, he had a full family. I know he's a mum and pop restaurant and that. Everything was good. And then this crime reporter comes there and goes, I fucking know who you are, by the way, and grassed him in, which I thought was just...
Crime reporter? I mean, what are crime reporters?
Who the fuck even, like, are you a police, mate?
Aye, you'll know the police, so like, they're just grasses, mate.
They're just grasses for, like, newspapers and that.
Aye.
But that guy actually did. He tracked the guy down, I know. He was like, I need to find this guy. Because this was, like, notorious. Do you know what I mean? Because there was other stuff that happened after it. The ransom money that Franz Meyer allegedly burned several million guilders in a manic frenzy, erasing part of the trail and only leaving a portion to be recovered by the authorities. They also, I think the other three guys, they invested a lot of it and kept a lot of it. So they were kind of alright. I think they were kind of chilling, apart from being in jail for like 12 years when they get extradited back to the Netherlands. And after the kidnapping had ended, it wasn't the end of the line so they all went their separate ways and they never stayed in contact. Even Van Hout and Willem, I forget to say his surname, but Willem. Van Hout got out of jail in 2000 and he was convinced that Hollander thought he had all the money because a lot of it wasn't recovered.
Aye.
And he was terrified that Hollander was going to kill him. In 2003, Van Hout was executed outside his home in Amsterdam. It was a professional hit and there was no robbery, no arguments about it. In 2019, the Dutch courts confirmed that Willem Hollander had ordered the murder, not for what Van Hout had done, but for what he might do. Because he had planned, Van Hout was a planner, mate, so he had planned to go back there and gather up all that cash and get to fuck Willem Helden, or wasn't having that.
So he's like, he knows how smart he is.
Aye.
So he's like, he's got to probably come here and get a plan together to get that money.
I'm stopping him.
So he just, and they were like best pals?
He got him killed, aye, they were best pals back in the day. But that's what greed does, mate. And we were saying, like, this full time we've been talking about how it wasn't about greed, it was about getting out of the life and just being comfortable.
Aye.
But at the end, mate, that's what can happen to you. You can wind up like not 20 years before, you and your pals are out and about kidnapping CEOs, not
Just having a great time.
having a good time, man, fucking them in the back of a van.
Being young.
Just being young, no phones, just living in the moment.
Aye.
20 years later in 2003, you're getting your pal shot outside his house.
They one of them made a film out of this one.
What's
I
the
know,
film
by the
called?
way, just the kidnapping of Freddy Heineken.
Oh, really?
Aye. No, it's like, you would think it would be a kind of...
And it's like a film, it's not a documentary?
No, it's like a full, like, aye. It's
Like a
full-
reenactment of
Kinda,
it,
but
so-
I think it will be more, it's more like hammed up
Aye.
and stuff, the film, as they usually are. As I say, they've got kind of creative license, they do what they want with.
Was he old when they kidnapped him?
He was...
Was he like an elderly man? Like, was he like...
No, he wasn't pure old. He was like... he
40 or
was
something,
No,
man?
I think he was like early 50s, late
Aye.
40s, aye. So he wasn't pure old. He was
Did he
kind
go
of...
back to work after it?
Mate, he went straight back to work and...
Monday morning?
Aye, Monday morning, mate, right back in. And he ended up creating... Freddy Heineken has created the most influential private security company in, like, Europe. Like, it's him,
Off the
like,
back of
because
that?
of this, he's like, here, we need to fucking sort things out here, by the way. He was going through his full life. Obviously, had the armoured Cadillac, right? Who doesn't he?
enough.
Who doesn't he? You know
Get
what
one
I
of
mean?
them, you think you're safe. No,
Aye, exactly. You think just get armoured for bullets, mate? You get CS gas and fucking orange vans and that are coming after you.
Coming, mate.
But I came out and he was like, I'm gonna make this. And I think they knew it's still a mad proper private limited company for security that's like one of the best in Europe. And it was all because of Mad Van Houten that. Mate, I had another page of this that kind of went on to what the other guys done afterwards, other than obviously Paraguay and that, but it's
I feel
disappeared
like
off
we
this
kind of fucked
PDF.
you about and skipped about your timeline, but see when they deposited the money and then they all patched,
Yes.
was there anything we missed that, like, how did the police actually get him out? No, I mean, was there any info there?
What, get...
Did one of them basically go, he's in there? No, what I mean, and go like, well,
Aye, so how did the handover of Freddy Heineken go? Like, how did they catch them doing that?
So the two dickheads that were trying to go to Paraguay, that was their plan at the start and all. They were like, we'll fucking go to Paraguay. So just one of them was heading to Paraguay and he was arrested at the airport. Another one was going to release Freddy Heineken and they were waiting at the warehouse for him.
So they'd figured out where they'd been keeping them.
Aye, mate. They'd done in that like 6 days that they never spoke to them. They'd done like good police work. Know what I mean? Like but I think see if the police didn't delay that first handoff thing, I think they would have got away with it and they bother because they were all about. It was all about time and it was all about. If they do this at this point, then we'll be here. It was like 5 steps ahead of them in a sense of like. If they do this, we're sorted and we'll make them do this. They threatened them. They sent them pictures. So they got printed off pictures of cunts' fingers and like made it look like it was their fingers and said you've made irreparable damage to the driver and Freddy, and sent them that. So they thought that would speed them up. That was after the 6 days though. So
that 6 days killed them, kind of.
Aye, fucked them.
Because that gave the police time to get tips and get info. And
The Chinese delivery tip was big, man.
I can't believe that.
I know.
I hope you got a few quid, man.
You got a good tip?
I don't think you. I don't think you get.
Believe that?
I don't think you get.
Email you wanted. Bastards didn't give me a tip. You believe that? They killed us.
Mate, and mate, there's still 20 million guilders in some fucking forest near Amsterdam.
Is it still out there?
I think it's unrecovered, so it's either Van Houten went back and retrieved it.
Is that money no absolutely useless, but?
Like, is
Aye,
it not-
guilders.
Gilded, so it's
Aye.
no currency now?
Aye, it's euros now, innit?
You
They
couldn't.
would suspect you if you showed up. You're like, I just fun 20 million
Aye.
euros. Maybe I
Oh.
convert that.
Mate, I'm so sorry. I heard a conflicting thing, so I listened to a podcast. No, it wasn't even a podcast. It was just some fucking dickhead talking. But I listened to that the day, and that they said, and none of the other things that I've read or listened to have said this, but they said a dog walker found the money and phoned the police right away, and it was 19 million guilders. But imagine finding 19 million quid, mate.
Phoning the police.
Imagine doing that, bro.
But when did they find it? At the time?
Aye, back in the day. Sorry,
Mate,
so that
see,
was.
See, honestly, right. I don't know, because like in here the new we're like, mate, found 19 million £, but you can't just. I don't know, like,
I think the logical thing to do is take 5 mil.
and be like, I found 14 mil.
Aye.
And then, or just
Aye.
leave it there. And then if they fin it, they'll assume like, oh, one of the other ones must have got away with 5 mil and all.
True, mate. True. You literally.
You can't take the lot, can you?
Literally,
know?
all you need to do is take one of those Dutch mail bags and walk away, mate, and you are laughing. But this bitch bells up the popo, mate.
Rookie, man.
And I always think about these people, and I'm like, I don't know one cunt that would do that. So how are they always the person finding money? Is there just all these good people out there?
Because do you know why? Because see all the other people that found it, they never told anybody about it, so you never find out about it.
Aye, true. True,
You know what
by
I
the
mean?
way. Aye, because you're always hearing it. And they fucking, like, he bought a piano and it had fucking 4 bars of gold in it, and he gave it into a museum, and I'm like, who the fuck's doing that? Know what I mean? You're punting that like that. But then I also think like sometimes I'm quite shocked with like how stand-up citizen some people are. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like, see if like a lot, like probably 40% of the population like knew what like what we would get up to in that kind of scenario, like I just fucking pocketed that, mate, and fucking I took 5 mil, went to fuck, they'd be like, oh no, you can't do that. No, I mean, like I think there is a big population out there of people that are actually just good law-abiding citizens.
It is like the people when you're smoking a joint that are like, excuse me.
I actually think like,
because then there's people that if you're smoking a joint, they'll walk by you and be like, oh, right, okay, and they just won't say anything. Or there's people that won't give a fuck. Or there's the people that are like that. Just posting.
They people are good though.
But I know they're the best ones.
Aye.
But the ones that are like, how dare you? They're the bastards that would phone up and go, I found 19 mil.
I don't know what to do with it. Each bag weighs about 100 kilograms.
At least take like
40 quid or something.
Aye, 100 grand or something.
Aye, 100 grand just seems like name amount of money at all.
Mate, see if you actually think about it, right? Finding it is a bit para finding 19. Imagine we're just out there and we're like, is that money in the ground? And then we're like, do that.
Bag or something.
And then before you know it, we're done, mate, and there's 19 million.
We've got it in here and we're looking at it and we're like, right. Are you saying you wouldn't take?
There's no way you'll leave it, like, there's no way you're not taking anything. At least for me personally, if I find 19
J-money?
There's no way I'm going to be like worrying about a tax bill after that, mate. No,
I know. It makes perfect sense to me, mate. I don't know. It depends on what you find. If you find a wallet and it's got 40 quid in it, I'm not taking a score. I'll give the wallet back with the 40 quid in it.
Taking a 40.
Taking it all me. I'm getting a card ring. Going buying scratch cards.
I think in that scenario, right, when you're talking about like cunts mentals who phone the police or decide to take it or whatever, if you find a wallet with 40 quid in it, your head is like, that's a shame. Some guy's lost his wallet, I'll give him it. If you find 19 million, mate, there's no good reason for that to be there. So like,
I promise.
And a hole in the ground.
I promise I would take every fucking penny of it. I swear in my life. I would take the 19 mil 100%.
Would you tell him?
Talk me through
I tell
this.
you, aye.
Tell the pod.
I'll give you.
Talk about it. Yeah, we'll wait till we're on the pay to it.
I don't know how the real route in that.
I found 19 million cash up there. But wait, talk me through. So like, I love the whole vibe right now. Right? I love it. 19 million cash. I'll take the lorry. I do love it. What are you doing with that? Like, what are you spending that on?
I'll sit on it, bro.
Till when?
Till forever, mate. I'll give it out to cunts and that. It's staying with me, mate. I'm wanting to not have to give a fuck about money forever. Do you know what I mean?
But you can't go and deposit $1 million into your bank.
No, I don't want to. I'll just take 40 quid out my big pile every day. I've got it all, it's all sitting in the loft. I've got all these bags of cash sitting in the loft. I've still got my work. No, I probably would do.
But so you go to work, you get 19 million in your spare room.
In the loft.
But you set an alarm and all that for the morning. Oh, you bastard.
I would do that.
You need to go to work, but to hide the...
Even for a while anyway, and then what I would do, do you want to know what I'd do, right? So I've got that 19 mil in the loft, right? I tell yous about it. I'll offer yous a mil each, like the new, like that. I'll give you a mil each, you can put in your...
I'd phone the police right away. Jamie Kelly's just give me £1 million.
That would be like a prank call.
Aye.
Like, fucking take it. I would give $1 million out to use whoever else that I trust to tell about it. My dad would be like, fucking, he's 16, I'll pay you back. Like, I'd say something mad, but I'd give you some of it out. But it would stay up there in the loft for a good while. And every single night, I would go to the casino with like a bag. I'd go to the casino with...
that's no suspicious
10 bags.
Guy walks in with a literal sack of money.
Sack of cash, mate.
what a burglar.
Turn that
Cartoon criminal.
Turn that into casino chips, mate. Casino chips just go...
Insatiable, brother.
Easy casino trip. But then you probably would end up getting your cash back at one point. You need to go to different casinos, which might end up looking dodgy and all. I'd go to bookies maybe.
I think the only way you could kind of get away with it is continuously using that for minor things. So like going to get messages and that, go to cinema, going to a restaurant. Like you couldn't go and be like, how do I get a motor with this? Like you can't do that.
No, that's what I mean.
But you could
Just
see
ways to do that where you could like go in and buy a motor, right, with a down payment in cash. Right, so there's some cash gone.
But
the rest of it, you're paying out your bank account and then just live off that money because you don't need your bank account anymore.
But I think there's a certain amount, like now, like you can't just walk into Arnold Clark and be like, there's $9,000 cash, I want that.
I think
like,
you can.
No, you can't.
Can you not?
No, see if you've got it cash, you need to prove to them where it came from. There's like an amount where.
There's an extra two, mate.
Because see the thing is, right, like in their eyes, and I think back in the day you could have easily got away with that. Like, everything was cash, like, oh, you want to pay card? Fuck's sake.
Fuck's sake, we need to get the big machine out. Beep, 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 boop, beep. Right, fling your card up there.
You don't get $9,000 cash sitting about, no?
But I know I get you. You can't just go in and like to this day and age. You do need to be very careful. So I would try and Corvan out my way out of the situation. What I would do is, I would every month I would go and put $1,000 in the bank. Right, I'd keep working for a wee while. Right, I'd put $1,000 in the bank every single week, and it's just like savings. That's as if I'm saving. This is my savings that I have. That's what I would say.
Bank.
And I would pay. Exactly. It's a big fucking massive piggy bank in my loft.
You said every week you're putting $1,000 into your bank.
Every week I'm putting a bag in.
You can't do that.
I think you can. I think it's because I've like, see, when I used to work for a cunt that was pure dodgy, and he would give me bags of cash and go, can you put that in your bank and send me like so much it and keep like a couple £100, and I'd be like, aye.
I think that's completely illegal, mate.
Aye, fuck it. They don't know the
Statute of limitations, mate.
Aye, I was a young boy.
It was 2 years ago, fuck's sake.
No, but aye, you definitely can, up to 10 grand or maybe 5. It's like that's when it gets proper flagged. But if you've put in 500 or £1,000 into your bank every week for a wee while, then they 10 grand and that stop looking as suspicious. You just need to have a kind of a few months of this constant kind of money getting into your bank. I would start investing, mate. I'd get right into my crypto and all that. Get right into my like, because you would
never need money for any. It's a hard one, isn't it?
But this is how cunts wash money. But like, seeing Breaking Bad, where they have like the car wash.
Aye.
You've got a cash business, and then you can just go out, mate. Fuck.
We should start that a
Aye, we
podcast.
could get we should franchise a fucking Black Rooster or something when we're on 19 million.
No, we don't. You don't want. You want to go. What's popping now? Matcha. I put it on matcha.
Aye, 19 million.
19 mil.
Matcha.
Vesting it. Matcha stocks.
There's defo. It's how many people do you want to involve in this whole situation? But there's a fucking Jimmy McGill, Slippy McGill, or whatever he was called. Fucking
Slippy McGill.
Better Call Saul guy, mate. There's
right.
defo a lawyer there that's going to be like, right, you can set up this shell corporation and put money into that and all that. You would need help off the professionals, but you fucking bet your bottom dollar, Evan Riley, I'm taking every single one of the guilders.
Oh.
If I find 19 mil, it's coming with me.
It would be murder finding like 19 million pesetas or something. You're like, the fuck am I going to do with
Aye,
this?
so, and then you work out what it's worth and you're like, 450 grand or something. And you're like, fucking
like,
hell.
Vietnamese dongs like 30,000 a pound. So you could find like 5 million and be like, you've got about 40 quid.
Let's see what 19 million, what are they called, Vietnamese dong?
Aye.
Divided,
that's nothing, mate. I used to pay more for my
600 grand.
19 million dong, Vietnamese dong.
Is 600? Or what did you say? 30,000 is one?
30,000's a pound. I thought you were actually on Google there. No, 30,000's £1.
Right, so if we had 19 million pound, 1,000.
See how Jamie does his calculation here? I'll tell you that's a no.
You tell me what?
That's a no.
Oofed,
Aye, I know.
You've not got a laptop or nothing, you still know?
I've got a timer going.
You're like one of the fucking, you've got like a compass in your head
What
that
have I
tells
got?
you.
Just proving he can count, mate.
Aye, you don't need a stopwatch for
So
it.
the big hand is at the 12 now, and so, yep.
So that's it. That should be done 1 hour.
Closes it with the dong situation, mate.
That's what I'm looking
Patreon.
for. 19 million Vietnamese dong.
Mate, I'm going to guess it's £500 or something.
Oh, you are very close, bro.
What is it?
Hugely close. What, I guess an exact number?
Does it start with a 5?
It does.
£586.
No, you're way off, mate. Get on now. £538.
That's yes.
Imagine you found £19 million worth of 19 million banknotes, like different denominations, like
Is that fucking a million?
bags and bags and bags of shit. Or would you get a million
What's
note?
the biggest note's 500,000.
500,000, which is like nothing.
500,000 is like you'd pay that for like a meal,
Oh, that's crackers.
like a
innit?
nice meal.
What is going on with the inflation
500K,
earlier, mate?
mate.
That is bonkers, bro.
Aye.
I think they may still have a, like, is India's quite thingly, but
Let's research that. I'm be very interested to find out
don't-
what's the worst currency. Guys, we need to move on to Patreon now. Hope
Aye.
you enjoyed. Well done, James.
thanks, mate.
Loved
Huge
that.
props,
That's
by the
a
way, that was very engaging.
Was it
I
alright?
was
Was it
pure
good?
like, because
Well,
you always know it's engaging when like you're telling it, and I'm like, hold on. So Freddy leaves the show.
Do you know I had wrote this all with no names in it, and I was like, you need to get to know everybody. You need to know Franz Meyer and that. Away to Paraguay.
You
and
need to get
that.
attached to them.
Away to Paraguay,
The
mate.
surfer guy and that.
Wife Wayne's restaurant, happy days for 15 years, and then some fucking weasel crime reporter flies to Paraguay.
Can we investigate that guy? Because I'm pretty sure that guy got murdered in Holland
Who?
off like a mad Scottish gangster. That De Vries guy.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure,
Oh,
mate. Because he was a crime
Doris
reporter.
De Vries, was it?
His bra, mate. Patreon.com/Riley's Gaff for the rest of the episode and all the rest of the other episodes. You'll get so many of them. We've been doing this for years at this point. So if you sign up, it's like the cost of a pint of a bowling club. How's
I
that?
like 40 million Vietnamese.
It's defo probably around about 100k.
30k. So.
Something like that.
No, it'd be 90k. So for 90 grand, you can get another wee bit at the end of the episodes, and we'll get a bit half
And
an
a
hour or something.
backlog of like hundreds of shit that we've done.
It is cool how long we've been on Patreon now, that when people sign up, we've been on it for years now, so it's like, because people sign up for the Patreon, they talk in the Discord and they're like, I've went back to the start of all the Patreon episodes,
Aye.
because it's like a full other side podcast that's been going on along with the
That's
YouTube
probably
side.
better than the YouTube one.
It's 100% better. As soon as, guys, but let you know a secret, right? We're on YouTube now, you're kind of like, oh, Spotify, whatever you're listening to this, and you're like, another episode of Riley's Gaff, right, good stuff. See, since we got into Patreon, we go, right, fuck it, let's actually date now. You know what I mean?
Balls out and that.
So
that's what
sign
we're
up.
about to do.
Patreon.com/Riley's Gaff. Give us a like, give us a wee subscribe if you can. We love you all. We'll see you over at Patreon. Goodbye.
Cheers.